Wow. Good morning, Sacramento. How are we doing today? Good. Thank you for being here on this early Monday morning, and thank you, Vice Mayor Talamantes, for that roaring introduction, and for most importantly, bringing your energy and passion to the great city of Sacramento. And wow, it's been a whirlwind as 10 months as the mayor of our city. I wake up every morning, including this morning, with two equal thoughts. What an honor to serve as the mayor of Sacramento, number one. And number two, what did I get myself into? Yes, it's a lot. It's an all-encompassing undertaking, but I love this assignment. I love my hometown of Sacramento, and I'm honored to serve as our 57th mayor. So I'm often asked when I'm around town about my observations, my early takeaways as mayor, and it comes down to three things. Everything takes way too long. Sorry, City of Sacramento staff, to get something. Even when you have the solution in front of you, it takes way too long. And everywhere I go, people say hi, people say hello. So thank you, that's really nice, keep that up. But number three, this is the big thing. Nobody ever calls or texts me with good news. So look, most of you have my cell phone number. I haven't changed it for 26 years. If not, you could email me or direct message me. So please, text me good news, exciting things. Text me what's happening, the best of City of Sacramento, so please do that. Thank you. So let's now talk about the state of our city. Like every big city in California, we certainly have our challenges, but we are undoubtedly a city on the rise with big things ahead. I'm certain of this because of our perseverance, our projects, but most importantly, our people, our perseverance. We survived and battled back from COVID-19, the global pandemic, and the Great Recession. We're delivering on transformative projects. This spring, we opened Aggie Square along Stockton Boulevard, a $1 billion university research campus, and a once-in-a-generation opportunity to shift our economy away from an over-reliance on government jobs. Through streamlining Sacramento, we're cutting red tape and making it easier to build housing and open a business and grow our economy. We're making significant progress on homelessness. Building on our 30% reduction on our homeless count, we've opened up nearly 500 beds over this 15-month period, and we're not done. This last month, we outlined a 6-point plan to deliver an additional 500 beds, which we'll talk about later. We balanced our city budget this spring, addressing a $62 million deficit without any layoffs or significant program cuts. We're keeping the zoo, in case you didn't hear. Next year, we celebrate 100 years of the zoo in Sacramento, and we're working to expand their land park site to keep the zoo thriving for another century. We're rocking and rolling at the rail yards, breaking ground on the largest urban infill site in America, a new Kaiser Hospital, a big league soccer stadium. Thank you, Wilton Rancheria. We opened 2 housing developments, and within a couple of months, we'll open the new county courthouse and break ground on the Paint Shop music venue. Speaking of rocking and rolling, we recently hosted over 160,000 people at our 13th annual Aftershock Music Festival. And stay tuned, we have big news coming soon for 2026 and beyond. But you know what? We're more than just projects. We're Sacramento strong because of our people, because of you here today that care about Sacramento, because of our 525,000 city residents, because of our 5,000 city workers who show up every day doing important work, often miraculous work. I witnessed this firsthand. I saw incredible dedication over my first few months by going on over 200 hours of ride-alongs with our police, fire, homeless response, solid waste, code, parks, 311, and animal care teams. I want to highlight 3 amazing city workers with us here today. Sacramento firefighter Tony Ramirez has been at Station 20 for 2 decades, serving as a line firefighter paramedic and member of the Urban Search and Rescue Team. He saved countless Sacramentans and served as a first responder at disasters worldwide, from 9/11 to Washington mudslides to hurricanes in Puerto Rico and North Carolina. T. Ram, thank you for your service to Sacramento. Okay. As a member of the Sacramento Police Department since 2017, Officer Matthew Lawrence has spent most of his career on the graveyard shift, recently joining the crisis negotiation team. While I was riding along with the police on a cold Friday evening, I saw Matthew's professionalism firsthand as he saved a suicidal young man who was about to jump off a 6th floor parking garage. Officer Lawrence, thank you for your service. Lastly, Esmeralda Bruce Romo. She started as a teen while in college at the Southside Park Clubhouse, now supervises youth programs and enrichment programs for kids all across the city of Sacramento or community centers. Thank you for your service, Esmeralda. Thank you. You know, we're blessed by these 3 individuals, but also everyday Sacramentans. Like 2 weeks ago today, 15 people on their way home from work saw a crashed helicopter in front of them. They didn't just wait in their car scrolling on their phones. They jumped out of their cars and assisted our first responders and lifted the crashed helicopter off of our victims. We have 2 of them here today, a family, a grandma and a grandson, Christopher and Isabella Lopez. Thank you for being amazing Sacramentans. Thank you. And so much work is getting done by the people who serve diligently on our Sacramento City Council. Thank you, Lisa Kaplan, for working to deliver on Innovation Village at the former Arco Arena site. Thank you, Councilmember Dickinson, for leading our budget committee and helped deliver on the long-forgotten Hagenwood Library. Thank you, Karina Talamontes, for your citywide leadership and helping connect District 3 across the American River to downtown Sacramento. As I mentioned earlier, Streamline Sacramento, making it easier to do business in our city. Thank you, Councilmember Pluckybaum, for spearheading this effort. Councilmember Katie Maple, thank you for your leadership on housing and active transportation issues. Have you heard about the Fuel Network, helping immigrants and refugees get legal services? Thank you, Councilmember Guerra, for making this happen, as well as your work on Stockton Boulevard. Councilmember Jennings, thank you for being our leader, our longest tenured council member, our coach, and for your work to complete the Sacramento River Parkway Trail. Have you heard about Measure L and our youth fund? Well, thank you, Mai Vang, for authoring this and engaging our South Sacramento community about the 102-acre site. And if you haven't heard, we'll soon welcome a new city manager to Sacramento, Marakisha Smith. Congratulations and welcome to Sacramento. And thank you, Lainey Milstein, for stepping up and keeping us moving forward as interim city manager over these past 11 months. And lastly, we can't deliver for Sacramento without having outstanding partners through our federal, state, and local delegation. Thank you, Congresswoman Doris Matsui, for fighting for us and delivering in Washington, D.C. Thank you, Assembly Members Stephanie Wynn and Maggie Krell, for your diligence and hard work on behalf of our Capitol community at the Capitol. Thank you to our West Sacramento Mayor, Martha Guerrero. We'll have news about Martha in a little bit. Thank you to our District Attorney, Tien Ho, our SMUD Board members, Dave Tamayo, Nancy Bowie Thompson, our Los Rios trustee, former state senator and council member, Deborah Ortiz, our former council members, Sandy Sheedy, Steve Cohn, and Rob Fong, our supervisors, Patrick Kennedy and Rosario Rodriguez, our ranch and supervisor, Patrick Hume, our partner from Rancho Cordova, Mary Siri Pulapita. No, I messed your name up, Siri, sorry. Yes, so thank you for our regional partners. And we have a lot more to discuss. But this State of the City is going to transition a little bit now. It's not going to be one of those old-fashioned rose-colored glasses ChatGPT State of the City addresses. We're going to have an old-fashioned fireside chat about all issues Sacramento: homelessness, housing, economic development, transportation, and so much more. So please, and some big announcements, so stay tuned for those. So please join me as I welcome our local respected journalist, Vicki Gonzalez, who will help lead us in a conversation about all things Sacramento. Welcome, Vicki.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. All right, you ready?
How about some water?
Yeah.
Yes, just like Insight, right?
Yeah, just like Inside in front of a live audience. Yeah, we should do this more often. Okay, so the elephant in the room is me. Typically, as you mentioned, State of the City addresses are the mayor and the mayor alone. So why take this unorthodox approach? Have me here.
I just wanted to have more of a conversation about the issues, some back and forth. Plus, I think sometimes people get a little bored hearing a politician speak for 45 minutes in a row. So I just wanted to get into it and have some good back and forth and old-fashioned fireside chat.
So the 4 priorities that you want to focus on for your first State of the City address: homelessness, housing, public safety, and youth. We got a lot of questions from the community about these 4 issues that are very important to you. Number 1 for you, top priority, is homelessness. But this isn't the first time homelessness has been a top priority for a mayor or even an elected official. Darrell Steinberg's first State of the City back in 2016 as mayor-elect focused on homelessness. Governor Gavin Newsom, his first State of the State back in 2019, focused on homelessness in front of the state legislature. You were there as a state assembly member. So we're here nearly a decade later. Same priority, new leadership. What is different this time? Why is this such a stubborn issue to solve nearly a decade later?
Well, the big picture is this is the issue that wherever we go, our council members hear from this in our community. And everybody has a different solution. But the one thing we need to keep making progress, and I'm certain that we are. This is something that's not unique to Sacramento. It's all West Coast cities across the nation are facing this. But I think there is some good news on the horizon that I want to outline kind of where we're at and where we're headed. So when you think about homeless in the city of Sacramento, our homeless count went down 30% from 22 to 24. So we have made some progress in the city of Sacramento, thanks to Mayor Steinberg and our council that was here before us. As well, in the last 15 months, we've opened up 500 new beds. So our count's gone down. We're opening up new beds. But the stubbornness persists. We still see too many unsheltered people on our streets and our communities, and we need to do things differently. And that's why we're stepping up and looking for different paths to serve more people to get unsheltered, homeless off our streets. We are seeing fewer encampments. Cities across the state, like Sacramento, are enforcing no camping ordinances. But we need to move forward, and we're doing just that.
When it comes to your new approach, I think for a lot of Sacramentans over the past decade, they're frustrated, they're even cynical when an elected official like yourself has new solutions. What is different about your approach compared to your predecessors?
Well, first of all, it's not my approach, it's our approach, the city of Sacramento and our city council. And I think we realized that we need to do things differently. And we asked for an audit. One of the things that I campaigned on is we want to audit our existing city homeless programs, see what's working and maximize that, and just move away from stuff that really isn't getting us a solution. And one thing that I struck upon me in our first few months when I went around on our learning tour and visited all our homeless programs, I did the math on some of the solutions, especially some of the permanent supportive housing solutions, which cost between $500,000 and $1 million for one unit for a homeless individual. And we figured out that it would take us 100 years to get all those people off the streets. And nobody in the community thinks that is a good idea. So we needed to pivot to find ways how we can serve more people, not less. And look, we're facing fewer money from the federal government. I know our congresswoman's fighting for us, but there's other forces out there like our president that are harming our economy and our state. We have this,
the state too.
and the state, I'll get there, the state funding has gone down in large part because our homeless count went down. We got somewhat penalized for that. And then our city budget, we're having a crunch too. So we can't count on flush money coming from the federal, state, and local. So we need to do things smarter. So one of the things that we're doing is, hey, as opposed to $500,000+ to $1 million for a solution, why not these tiny home sites that cost $80,000 all in, where we can serve more people, not less? And so that's part of our 6-point plan that we unveiled recently, which is we're going to open up places where people can legally park, a safe parking site, a site where people can camp in the River District. We're going to reform our motel program so people can serve, more families can serve in our motel program. We're going to create a tiny home grant program, which I'm excited about. We're announcing today. Robin Moore is here. Where is Robin? She's right over there. Robin is a woman. Robin is a woman in her district, in District 2, decided to do it on her own. So she opened up 4 tiny homes several years ago and served homeless families on her own. So we're going to buy tiny homes and ask churches, nonprofits, what can you do to be part of the solution? So we're excited about that, the Robin Moore Tiny Home Grant Program. But the last 2 things that we're zeroing in on are these micro home, tiny home villages focusing on seniors, where seniors can go and they can have some dignity. You know, I went and visited the shelters, the congregate shelters where they have all the cots, and the homeless individuals, they've told us they don't like it there. It doesn't do well for them. So we've opened up these tiny home sites along Stockton Boulevard in Councilmember Garrett's district and Roseville Road in Councilmember Dickinson district. And they've been very, very successful. They're much cheaper and affordable. And the homeless individuals say, we want to go there. Because these individuals like you and I, Vicki, they want to go home tonight with a key, a door, and some security and some dignity. So we're opening up 4 of these sites in all areas of Sacramento, from North Natomas to the south area and Pocket Land Park, not just the historic areas where we put all our homeless population. We're all in this together. And so we think this is going to be very, very successful. And lastly, I know this for a fact because when I went to go visit the new site on Roseville Road, I saw a couple that was camping outside along the fence, and they had a tarp over the fence and some bushes outside. I said, what are they doing out there? And they said, oh, they're waiting to get the call. They were at the shelter downtown. They didn't like it. They're waiting to get the call in here to the tiny home site. So we're doubling down on things that are more effective, that can serve more people.
So currently, there's a little over 1,300 beds available in the city, 1,300 and change. And with this 6-point plan, your office says that you can expand shelter capacity, bed capacity by roughly 1,000. Is that within a 12-month period? What is the timeline for
Correct.
that?
Well, we're actually about a little over 1,700 because of Mayor Steinberg and the council. We opened up 500 right now, and then our 6-point plan is an additional 500. So we're thinking about a year. We have a legitimate path to serve another 500 people. And with that, what we're trying to address is unsheltered homeless that are in front of the B Street Theater this morning, on our parkways, in our communities. And we have a legitimate path to do that. We're not in this alone. We're partnering with the County of Sacramento, how we can maximize our resources. I'm pleased to state that next Tuesday, we have the first ever joint meeting with the Sacramento City Council, the County Board of Supervisors, and mayors from the other 5 cities to talk about how we can work on these things together. So we need to partner and share our resources to maximize success.
Okay, so when it comes to shelter capacity, you're going to expand to roughly 2,400 beds, hopefully within the next 12 months. Currently, according to that point in time count from 2024, a single night in January, when people go out and canvass the community, there are a little over 3,000 people on any given night who are unsheltered in the city of Sacramento. That's considered a conservative estimate. It's considered an undercount. If you're going to expand another 500, get up to 2,400 beds, at a time when you just closed a budget deficit, The state is giving you less money because they have budget issues as well. And these aren't isolated to this fiscal year. This can extend to future fiscal years. How do you make all of this happen with less?
We have to prioritize this. We have to continue to look for state grants. We have to look for our partners. One thing that I'm excited about is this Robin Moore Tiny Home Grant Program. Because of today's event, we've raised about $150,000 to purchase over a dozen tiny homes. We're going to start and go out to ask nonprofits and community, how do you want to help? So we're all in this together, and we are headed in the right direction. It's still a sticky problem that's an albatross around all of our necks in government, but I'm convinced after my first 10 months in office that because of our City Council, the amazing work of our team, Brian Pijo with the Department of DCR and our city staff, we are certainly headed in the right direction.
One of the key pieces of your 6-point plan, and it was controversial, are the micro communities, those tiny homes geared towards seniors. 4 different communities, 160 tiny homes. Charging residents 30% of their income after a 90-day grace period. Why charge some of the residents in our community who have the least means when they're trying to get back on their feet?
Yeah, we thought about that, and it was a tough vote. I think it passed, not quite unanimously on the City Council because there are some concerns. And at the end of the day, we want to serve more people, not less. And so by charging a 30% rent on your income, if your income is $300 a month, you pay $100. If you on SSI or Social Security, we'll charge a third of that as well, and we can serve more people and make these more sustainable. But also, I went recently to a groundbreaking on a affordable site on Stockton Boulevard where they serve predominantly former homeless. And I talked to a woman there, Councilmember Guerra and I did, and she was at the shelter, the WX shelter, the Navigation Center, and she's there now, and she's paying a third of her income for housing. So most of the time, if you're homeless and you get the call to get housing, you pay a third of your income. So this is outside the box, but if you did the math again, this would be less than 10% of our whole stock of our homelessness. So we are trying this out. And then lastly, it's voluntary. If people want to participate here, they can. If they don't want to, they can go somewhere else. And we surveyed people in our shelters, in the shelters, and asked them, would you say yes? And unequivocally, they said yes. Sign me up. So we think it's going to be successful, and it's not easy. As you know, we've launched a few of these locations, and we're already getting pushback. Not here. But I asked the residents, if not here, where? When I knocked on doors, they said yes. Put all the homeless somewhere else. Put them in the 100 acres. Send them here. Send them somewhere else. We're all in this together. We need to have these locations throughout the city of Sacramento. And these we think are going to be successful. They're smaller. Roughly 40 manufactured homes focusing on seniors. So it's literally kind of analogous to, a mobile home community where you have, 40 to 50 locations for people.
Right, so they're 120 square feet. You mentioned they're more cost effective, $85,000 a pop for a tiny home. That's still tough for a lot of people to swallow, $85,000. We got some questions from the community. One person has a tiny home on their property, and it costs less than $60,000. So did you shop around? Walk us through how you got to $85,000.
Well,
do you get like a Costco discount? I mean,
Yes.
You're building like 120 of these.
Well, remember
And they don't have it, and it's communal when it comes to the restrooms.
Correct.
You don't have a private restroom.
Yeah, well, remember my 3 takeaways about this job? Everything takes too long in the city of Sacramento. Everything's too hard. So yeah, the tiny homes are roughly $15,000 for the home, which is the same as going to Costco or shopping around. But it's, hooking up through SMUD and laying the plumbing and laying the concrete pads, fencing and security to make sure there are good neighbors. And so it's the other costs. And heck, $85,000 is pretty good when you look at some of these projects in the city that cost $600,000 to house one homeless individual. So we think the math makes sense.
So $15,000 for the actual structure. Where's the other $70,000 coming
It's for
from?
infrastructure. It's for putting in the power, buying the AC units, doing the plumbing, all the infrastructure and site work. That's where most of the costs are.
Another part of your 6-point plan is safe camping, and the city's doing it again after closing Camp Resolution last year. You have said that Camp Resolution is a failure. It's 50 unhoused women, men, and their pets were able to stay at this site. Some are back on the streets after its closure. Why was it a failure?
Well, it didn't work. The city council unanimously decided to pivot from there. Even the property owner decided it wasn't the right fit. So we're looking at maximizing what we learned there and what the lessons learned is there is a community that can be together. We needed a little more rules and order. So we're opening up a structure that would have, facilities, kitchen facilities, restroom facilities. They would have on-site staff there as well to help people succeed. And look, we see these not hopefully as a way of life, but as a transition to somewhere else. You mentioned earlier that even if we do all of this, we'll still be short by less than 1,000, which is better than we were a few years ago. And so hopefully people transition here to somewhere else and we could serve other people who are currently on the streets.
So what is different about this safe camping proposed site in the River District? Because the capacity will be double, 100.
Yeah, it's going to have more structure. The other place was self-governed, and you had a lot of problems with, criminal activity inside and outside. So we want to be good neighbors here. I know some people maybe in the audience who have a business there aren't too excited about this location. And so, we want to make sure that it serves the individuals, but also serves the community as well.
You also talked about Roseville Road. That's going to be expanding as well. Capacity will double from 100 to 200. There has been some criticism, though, when it comes to this location about how it's been organized. We had a Sacramento State social work professor who has toured and talked to residents. He told our local government reporter it's a quasi-prison. So environment plays a big role in someone who wants to achieve stability, be self-sustaining. What goes into the environment of where these people are going to live?
Well, I readily acknowledge that these situations are not perfect, but they're way better than sleeping under a tarp by a freeway or along the parkway or in front of our businesses. And so that's why people are saying, yes, I want to go there to the tiny home villages. Because look, as we said earlier, yeah, it's not a perfect situation, but as opposed to the sprung structures where you have 100 cots like you see after a hurricane, these sites have a key, a door. You can have your own small pet. You can store your stuff. You don't have to move your things around. And you know what you have too, especially if you're a woman or a man too? Security, that nothing's going to happen to you at night. And so there is a lot of safety there. I disagree with the assessment that it's incarceration. Ask the people that are staying there. They choose to be there, and there's a massive waiting list to get in. So I think that speaks for itself.
Finally, on the topic of homelessness, there has been a change with the Supreme Court. It changes how local governments like cities can enforce and have clear encampments, have anti-camping ordinances. You have enacted this in front of City Hall. That has also been controversial, not allowing people to sleep on public property in front of City Hall. How does enforcement help individuals who are looking for shelter and there is not enough shelter space for everyone who needs a home?
Well, I think two things can be true. We can say that there are certain areas we can't just have encampments grow and grow because it impacts the quality of life for all of us, impacts our communities. But also when we go out there, we are increasingly telling people where they can go. Here's a referral that you can go here. And as we said earlier, we have multiple options now. Places where you can camp your car, RV, where you can camp. We have places for individuals who are young, transitional foster youth. We have the sprung structures. So we have a menu of options for individuals. So I think what we're zeroing in on is, look, we can't have urban camping, but we also need to tell people where they can go and increase the place where people can go, and we're doing that just now.
Would you say your tone is more hardlined compared to your predecessor?
I think it's the tone of cities across America and California. I'm part of our mayors association of our big top 15 city mayors, and cities like Berkeley and Oakland and San Francisco, not your conservative cities, they're doing the same thing because they realize that you have to have more balance in the situation. We can't just have these encampments to grow and grow. And our governor is pushing the same thing as well.
Given that you've been a city council member for the city of Sacramento, you went on to the state assembly with your district being in Sacramento, you're now the mayor. How have your views on homelessness changed?
You know, it's one of the reasons I decided to run is I had at the time kids were walking home from middle school, and I didn't always like what I saw. No one liked what they saw, no matter how you feel about homelessness. And I just wanted to bring about, you know, a little bit more common sense and zero in on smarter solutions to serve more people, not less. And so I don't know if they've changed dramatically different than the population as a whole. I think people want us to address the issue and be smart about it.
When it comes to solutions and the solutions that you come up with, how have those evolved and changed in a position of power?
I don't think they've evolved very much. I think what I did is I realized that I didn't know all the answers, and so I spent my first 10 months, you know, going and listening and learning and seeing from our officials and talking to our council members, seeing what's working. And we're all in the same boat. We want to serve more people. We want to address unsheltered homelessness and not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And one thing that I said is like, look, sometimes I saw up and down California, you know, these Cadillac solutions. We need more Honda Civic solutions. We need to be smarter with our taxpayer money so we can serve more people, and that's what I've doubled down on.
Okay, so in the spirit of government being too slow, at least by your accounts, and I don't think you're alone in this, let's move on to housing. That's another big priority of yours for your first State of the City address. According to the California Housing Partnership, statewide nonprofit, in order to rent the average rent in Sacramento, a Sacramentan needs to earn double the minimum wage, so that's about $70,000. When it comes to the median home sales, in the last decade it's nearly doubled. Back in 2015, a home in Sacramento was $286,000. Last year, the median home sale price was $550,000. What is your role in making renting a home or renting a home, relieving the cost burden, making the entry point to becoming a first-time homeowner more possible and more accessible? What is your role in this?
Well, we have a big role, not just the mayor, but our city council and the city to make it easier to build housing. That's one of the things I asked Phil Pluckybomb to chair is our task force on streamlining the building department. So developers can say, you know what, I have a project I'm thinking about in Davis, in Vacaville, in Sacramento. Sacramento's making our lives easier. We're gonna go to Sacramento. You know, Sacramento was one of the first cities that stepped up to be a pro-housing city. We changed our zoning laws. I know Councilmember Maple led on this. And because of this, you know, we're first in line to get state grants to try to get more housing. But we need to build way more housing at all income levels. And I'm deeply concerned about this and how it impacts the next generation. As I mentioned earlier, I have 2 high school age kids, and I think about them and their generation. Are they going to be able to afford rent or to be able to buy a home here in Sacramento? And it's daunting. If you look at the young people in their 20s and 30s, our home ownership rate is 15% in Sacramento. It's double that in most cities across America. So I'm concerned how this enables us to keep our talent here in Sacramento, to attract people that want to work at Aggie Square, the rail yards, and these new projects in our city. So one of the things I'm going to be working on is asking our city council to put a measure on the ballot to focus on how we can do down payment assistance for first-time home buyers.
The ballot for next year?
Yeah, 26th ballot. Down payment assistance for first-time home buyers to be able to purchase a home and live the American dream. But we know that home ownership, 1, people who own a home are more likely to take care of their neighborhoods, but 2, it's the #1 wealth generator in the history of our country, equity on their home. And so too many people are getting squeezed out. So I think down payment assistance would help. You also mentioned too that renters are struggling. People that are homeless individuals often had an eviction or something else, and so we're looking at helping individuals who are homeless and who are renters who are on the verge of homelessness. And then lastly, there are tiny homes. For $80,000, we can put an individual from the streets into a tiny home. So we're looking to go to the voters in 26 to adjust our real estate transfer tax for high volume sales in the city of Sacramento, and really make a difference to focus on housing and homelessness.
And so that's solely how it will be funded, because all of this support and resources cost money.
Correct. Yeah, we don't have a lot in our general fund right now. So we're working with stakeholders and talking about how this would be structured. But I think that we need to address this in order to make sure that Sacramento grows and we can take care of our needs today and tomorrow.
You mentioned that Streamline Sacramento, I mean, this is a key piece to your housing initiatives. It was launched in April 2025 with Council Member Phil Pluckybaum. It's been 6 months. What have been the big changes in the last 6 months? How has it made the process easier in a tangible way for people who are looking to develop?
Yeah, two examples is one of my pet peeves. We're having the counter open every day. So if you go to the city building department, you're not going to be able to show there on a Monday or Friday and have somebody come back another day. So being able to serve people on an everyday basis. And we're using technology, AI. So, you know, if you want to waiting for your inspector all day, you can use your phone and FaceTime and show them the improvements. We're using drones to look at some of the inspections on elevated properties. So, you know, we're looking for ways to make life easier for developers, but it's not just a one and done. We're meeting every 2 months to focus on how we can continue to make Sacramento easier for people to choose to do business here, because that's going to help our economy. That's going to help address our lingering budget deficit, which isn't going away, to address homelessness, youth programs, public safety, and the works is growing our economy.
Okay, so in the spirit of combating slow bureaucracy, for your next State of the City address next year, how will housing look and feel different for people who live in Sacramento?
I want to say that we'll have more housing starts. We'll have more cranes and projects throughout the city of Sacramento. I want to be able to announce that we've launched our first-time homebuyer program, helping people get down payment assistance to achieve the American dream and buy a house here in Sacramento and help our economy, help people want to live and work here. So we have a lot of work to do, but I think we have some real ideas going forward.
All right, well, let's move on to public safety. That is also a big priority for you. Public safety looks different. It means something different when you ask one person to the next. We experience public safety differently. What does it mean to you? What does it look like for you?
I think that people can live safely in their neighborhoods, that God forbids that you have to call 911, that someone's able to be there to answer the call. But also public safety means programs that keep people out of trouble in the first place, which is why I talked about earlier Esmeralda and their work were our youth programs to helping young people stay out of trouble. And so, you know, one thing that we're excited about is this past year, you know, we doubled money for our youth programs through Measure L. So, you know, more young people are participating in after-school programs, gang violence intervention programs, mental health support programs to help people stay out of trouble. But back to public safety, I think whether you're a neighborhood or a small business, you know, we have to have you know, a dedicated and stable police force. I often say that when I was on the city council a decade ago, we had 100,000 fewer people, and we have nearly 100 fewer officers. And so this past budget, we balanced our budget without laying off any police personnel, and we intend to do the same thing again this year as well. So adequately staffing our police department is key.
The police budget has increased year over year, even this recent fiscal year during a budget deficit. Why?
I think it's the same thing with you know, teachers and nurses and all professions, that the cost of living has gone up tremendously in California. In order to retain a workforce, you know, we give salary increases of roughly the same as rates of inflation. So, you know, we're not any different than school districts, hospital systems, the state of California. You know, departments increases have you know, majorly been for increases for compensation for employees.
What would you say to residents who don't feel comfortable calling 911?
I hear you and I feel you, but I think most people, when there's an emergency, know that 911 is the answer. It's something that we never want to have to do. I've had to call 911 in my life, and know other people had as well. And so I just think that it's something that's a basic of a city, needs to make sure that safety is paramount. So police, you know, squad cars, county jails aren't the only thing that keeps a community safe, but having an adequately funded police department 100% my priority and the priority of our city council.
And police are just one arm of emergency response. We received other questions surrounding the fire department. Some listeners had disclosed that the fire department responds to a disproportionate number of calls surrounding homelessness. Resources at the fire department are strained, there are injuries, there's PTSD. What support will the fire department receive?
Well, we need to adequately fund our fire department. I had the opportunity to go on a ride along with Tony over here for 50 hours, believe it or not, 50 hours at Station 20 on Rio Linda Boulevard, and saw the professionalism firsthand. And a lot of the calls are medic calls. I don't think any of those calls are specifically homeless during my 50 hours. And some people, call 911 for medical stuff when it probably isn't appropriate to call 911. So it's an issue that keeps our community safe, but we're trying to be more effective and efficient. And I'll give hats off to our police and fire department, because faced with a massive deficit this past year, they looked for creative ways how we could reform and do things better, because we are not in a situation where we have the opportunity to just keep doing business as usual. We have deficits where we need to grow our economy and also be smarter with our budgeting.
So your last priority, youth, and you mentioned Measure L funding. Voters approved this back in 2022. Now that funding is starting to finally move in 2025. You gave some examples of what that looks like on the ground, but given that we're in tough financial times, the fiscal years don't really look that great in upcoming years. What confidence do you have, or can you give to the city of Sacramento, that youth funding won't be on the chopping block in another budget deficit?
Well, again, thanks to our council member here, Vang, who led the community effort to put Measure L on the ballot. It's now an effort that can't be cut in the city budget. So it's a dedicated revenue source, in case you don't know.
For 5 years.
Yeah, it's a dedicated revenue source with taxation on our cannabis industry. And so with this year, we literally doubled the funding for dozens of nonprofits in every council district, because I know this firsthand. I grew up here in Sacramento in a single parent family, and my brother and I got a little trouble here and there, but after school and sports programs kept us safe. And I see young people, and I know those make a big, big difference, and frankly, keep people out of the juvenile justice system. So I'm 100% committed to that. As I know as our city council, I know there was some talks this year in the budget of cutting some of our youth programs. We didn't cut any. We actually expanded them with our Measure L allocation. How
do you make it sustainable beyond the 5 years of Measure L?
We need to grow our economy. I talked earlier about the excitement I have for the rail yards, for Aggie Square, for streamlining Sacramento, for professional sports, which I have a big announcement in a few moments. But we need to do that not just because it's fun and sexy, because that brings in revenue to our city of Sacramento to balance our budget and address our key issues. All
right, before we get to those big announcements, you did mention a pretty big change in city leadership. The city will have a new city manager, Marquisha Smith. How is she different from her predecessor, Howard Chan? Or is she?
I don't want to compare nor contrast, and Howard Chan served Sacramento diligently for 20 plus years, roughly 7 as our city manager, which is pretty much double what most people serve as length of a city manager. But Marquisha, she served in big cities, in the grinder of cities of Cincinnati and Stockton and Oakland. Most recently served as city manager in Santa Rosa, and she was our unanimous choice because we saw her professionalism, her experience, her plan for tackling issues like the budget, economic development, housing and homelessness, and we just really liked her approach. And I guess the thing that made me feel the best is after we made the vote, I got a call from an assembly member who serves in North State now, and he's a new fellow in the assembly, and he was recently on the city council of Santa Rosa, and he was the mayor, and he said, that is an amazing choice. She will do great for the city of Sacramento, so your community and business leaders and city residents, city workers know that they're getting a star.
So there's been a lot of controversy and debate surrounding the position of city manager leading up to you taking on as mayor. How did that shape who you wanted to fill this role? probably arguably the most powerful position in the city, and it's unelected.
Yeah, and honestly, 10, 15 years ago, most people didn't know what a city manager was. I think in the last decade with our city manager back and forth, people said, oh, that's the person who runs the city of Sacramento, not the mayor. So people come up to me like, hey, mayor, do this. And I remind them, well, it's a little bit different here. We're not Tammany Hall. So we decided that we had what we wanted to focus on, our priorities and what good assets were for a candidate. And, we saw what we had in our city, and we think we have an amazing choice to go forward.
What was the message you got from residents?
They wanted someone to solve problems. They don't care if it's supervisor, the council, the mayor, the city manager. They don't keep track of that. That's all our inside baseball stuff, Vicki. They just know that there are problems, and they want government, you people down there at City Hall, to help fix the problem.
All right, we have a few minutes left, and you do have some announcements you want to share looking towards the future. What do you got?
Yeah, well, I'm really excited about Sacramento. One of the things that when I decided to run for mayor, I want to focus on, some of the fun aspects of the city that makes people want to live here and grow here. Who here has been on our American River Parkway over the years? Yes, paddleboarder right here, Assemblymember Krell. We love it. 8 million people a year visit our parkway, but as you know, there are a few stops in between when you get on the parkway trail. Near Blue Diamond in Sutter's Landing Park, and then down on the Sacramento River in the Pocket. So we're announcing that by 2030, we're going to complete the Freeport to Folsom Parkway to make sure you can get on your bike or run, or you can go on the whole parkway up and down the river.
So this... All right, so you have a lot of supporters here
Yes.
for this expansion. But it has been debated for decades, and there are residents who will be impacted, not happy about it. They're concerned about privacy. They're concerned about an increase in crime by having that access since their homes butt up to the levee and to the river. How are you balancing that?
Well, it's no more planning and talking. We're doing it. And again, thanks to Councilmember Jennings for taking a tough position on this for the past 10 years, but it's about the greater good for the next generation. I think about things that, people will remember us by 10 years from now. This is one, to be able to enjoy Mother Nature, active transportation. And so this is something that, we know that change is hard, but if you look on the parkway up in Carmichael, Arden area, there are certain, wealthy neighborhoods up there with a parkway next to them, and they do just fine, as well as other areas of Sacramento. So we hear them. We're going to try to be responsible as we do the construction. And of course, there is some property issues we need to sort out to paying for those easements. But I know Councilmember Pluckybaum and I are working another area stretch of American River, kind of behind Blue Diamond and Sutter's Landing Park. That's less of a controversy of people, but money. So we have some state grants that we've been working on, and wheels are in motion. So by 2030, we think we're going to make it a reality. So that's one exciting thing. The other thing I want to talk about is look, we love sports here in Sacramento. We love our Kings since '85. I remember when they came to Sacramento when I was in 7th grade, how excited I was for the Kings to be here. We have professional soccer here, the Republic and the new stadium, and dreams and real ideas for not only that league, but MLS there in the rail yards. But we have Major League Baseball here in Sacramento. So who here has been to an A's game this past year? Okay, so I have one thing to ask for you. If you went to one game this year, next year go to 2. If you went to 2, go to 10. If you went to 0, go to 1. And we really are in a chance to keep baseball here forever in Sacramento. We are an MLB ready city, and Mayor Martha Guerrero and I are launching a campaign to make sure that Sacramento is a legitimate opportunity. For those of you that say, what does this even mean, the A's are moving to Las Vegas. And the commissioner of baseball came out recently and he says they want to expand by 2 teams in the next 5 to 10 years. One in the East Coast, one in the West. Well, all the major league writers and pundits put down the 3 cities for the West. They're Portland, Salt Lake City, and you guessed it, Sacramento. So what do we have that no one else has? A team here today. So after talking to people in Major League Baseball, other owners of a major league team, they say there's one thing that we can do to dramatically increase our odds. It's making sure that we support the A's here and show that we are worthy of a major league franchise. So get out there and support Major League Baseball. That just means going to the game, but Mayor Guerrero and I are going to be working with our business leaders to get more corporate sponsorships, but we are in the game. And why does this matter? Look, I'm a baseball fan, and I know many people here are as well, and of course I'd love to have Major League Baseball here, the Kings and MLS for the next decades, for the next generation, and for excitement for young people. But look, we need to grow our economy. We need more money to address the issues we talked about earlier: homelessness, public safety, youth programs. And by having 2 million people come downtown every day, go to an MLB game, maybe we'll be like the Dodgers one day and get 4 million people a year. That's going to really dramatically impact our city budget and the mood of Sacramento and our economy for decades ahead.
Are you looking to build a new stadium?
We're agnostic to where, there would need to be a new stadium. The Sutter Health Park, formerly Rayleigh Field, is not big enough. It could be anywhere in Sacramento. Most likely is the city of West Sacramento. Some people say, wow, you're the mayor of Sacramento and you don't want to fight for the ballpark in Sacramento? No, I don't. It's wherever it makes the most sense. West Sacramento is the most likely, logical location. So we have that. We have ownership opportunities, but that's a conversation for tomorrow. But we are right now in the finals to get in the conversation. We need to do one thing to increase our chances and to be in the mix. Better support for the current MLB team today and tomorrow.
There are a lot of pushes when it comes to sports in Sacramento. Sacramento State has been trying to get into a top-tier football conference. You have Sac Republic FC vying for that long-coveted Major League Soccer bid. Now we have the MLB Ready campaign. That's a lot of investment of time, of resources, even money. Is the city spreading itself too thin?
No, I think that the Sac State initiative is largely led by President Wood, who I think is here today. Thank you for your work, President Wood. On the stadium, and also for looking to bring campus downtown. That's going to be big news for the city of Sacramento, a downtown Sac State campus. Thank you, President Wood. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. I know that Chairman Tarango and Wilton and Todd and the team over the Republic are focusing on the rail yards there and their stadium and their quest for MLS. Sac State's pushing on their issue, and then Mayor Guerrero and I and our business leaders with the Metro Chamber and GSAC and others are going to be working on this MLB quest. So I think we can do all simultaneously. And look, Sacramento is the largest city in America that doesn't have multiple Major League sports teams. And so it's not just, pie in the sky. This is a real opportunity for us. And it's not just for fame to make us feel good. This will help grow our economy and bring more business to the city of Sacramento.
All right, and that wraps it up. Any regrets? Are we going to do this again next year?
I think it went well. So, we'll come back. Yeah.
Thank you,
thank you.
McCarty. High five.
Thank you. Thank you.